Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to work backwards. Just to recall, what we've been doing so far is we've been doing multiplication. So, for example, you'd multiply these two together, and what you get is you get x squared plus 5x plus 4. But how did you get the 5x? Well, we had this x times x plus 1. That gave us x squared plus 1x, and then we had the plus 4 multiplying by the x plus 1 as well, and we got 4x plus 4x plus the 4. And so the middle terms combined, and that gave us the 5x in the middle. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work backwards. We're going to start with the product of x squared plus 5x plus 4, and you have to change it into its two factors. So we're working backwards. Because it's not going to be straight easy division, we're going to do two things. Number one, we're going to show you a method to figure out how you can break this 4 apart and still get 5 for the middle with the x's. That's the trick. Okay, so if we look here for what we did, we have x plus 1 times x plus 4. And what we found with our arrangements is that we had to have what we call a 1 by 4 arrangement. So we're talking about these 1 tiles. We had 1 by 4. And you'll notice this gave us the 1x tile, and this gave us 4x tiles. And what do they combine to give? That would equal the 5x. But 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 1 tiles could also be arranged in this format. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 1 tiles, but this is a 2 by 2 arrangement. And what that gives us up top is 2x's and 2x's. What do they combine to give? They combine to give 4x. And that's a problem because we want to have 5x, or we have 5x. So because of that, we know that this can't be the proper arrangement, so the answers we get would be incorrect. So what we're looking at is we're looking at the last little section, and we're looking at how to arrange them. Should it be a 1 by 4 arrangement? That gives us 4, and that gives us 5x. Or the 2 by 2 arrangement, which also gives us 4, but that would give us 4x because it's 2 by 2. Okay? And so one part is multiplying. You're checking the multiplication, and the other part you're checking the addition. And the addition must give us the sum in the middle. Okay, so we're checking the multiplication and the sum. So I know it's not clear, it's kind of murky with these tiles, but how you arrange these tiles are important. We're going to look at the factors now with just the numbers. So we're going to look at the sum product method. That's the typical or the true math terms. However, some like to call it the add multiply method if you're using kind of student terms. So if you're Googling this, add multiply is sometimes what it's referred to, or sometimes it's referred to sum product. So what we're looking at here, we're looking at 24. What are the possible combinations that we can arrange to get 24 tiles? Well, we can have a 1 by 24 arrangement. Or we could have a 2 by 12 arrangement, or 3 by 8 arrangement, or a 4 by 6 arrangement. All of these would give us 24 tiles when you multiply them together. So really what I'm looking for here is I'm looking at the different factors of 24. Okay? Those are all the different factors of 24. And I do it very, very, very logically. I start 1, and then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Oh, 5 didn't work, so I know I'm done. I don't just go, what are they? What are they? No, I check and guess each number, okay? Do it logically. So that gives me, those all equal 24. So now what I'm looking for is the sum. So which of all of these, which makes a sum of 11. Okay, so 1 and 24 gives you a sum of what? This sum for this group would be 25. Okay, this sum of 2 and 12 would be 14. This sum of 3 and 8 would give you 11. This sum would give you 10. Now what we're talking about for our sum is we're talking about adding those factors. So I just want to draw these arrows here to make it more clear. Okay, so the only sum that gives you 11 is 3 by 8. So that must be the answer. So what we can do then is we can fill in x and x. That's where we get our x squared from. Okay, and then it's just going to be plus 3 and plus 8. And when we multiply these together, what do we get? X squared plus 11x plus 24. Okay, so let's try this with this next one. Okay, the m squared breaks down into m times m. That's pretty standard. Now what about 9? What numbers multiply to 9? So for your product, the numbers that multiply to 9 are 1 and 9, 2 and, 2 doesn't work, 3 and 3. Oh, 4 and, it doesn't work. So then you just go up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So we're done here. We've reached our maximum of 3. So what is our sum? So here our sum could be 9. Here our sum could be 6. Now, which one is what we're looking for is negative 6. How can we get negative 6? Well, we can only get negative 6 if what? These guys were both negative. So let's guess. This would be 3, this would be 3. I think it might work, but can we get a positive 9? Yes. You could get negative 3 times negative 3 equaling positive 9. So that works out. So let's do our math. Multiply these out and you will get m squared minus 3m. Multiply out and you get minus 3m plus 9. Combine like terms and you would get m squared minus 6m plus 9. And that is exactly what we started with. Okay, I know I'm overwhelming you. Let's try one more. So, the y squared. So because of the y squared, we can break that down into what? Y and y. Okay. So now we have to break down the 12. What numbers multiply to 12? So what are the factors? Okay. Factors of 12. So factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 3 and 4 and, we're repeating, so we're done. Okay, so then where is the sum? So 1 and 12 would be 13, 2 and 6 would be 8, 3 and 4 would be 7. So 3 and 4 looks like the winner. So we have y plus 3 and y plus 4. So now we can double check. Okay, what do these add to? The sum would be plus 7 and what's the product? So when you add these, the sum equals 7, and your product equals 12. Okay, and there you go. So you can double check. Next one, a little bit more complicated. Okay, so to continue here, the m squared breaks down to the front. The question is, what happens with the m and n to get mn? Well, the n breaks down to the back. And then when you're doing multiplication, this multiplication gives you an mn, and this multiplication gives you an mn, and then you will combine them. So that's where all the letters are coming from. You have to know how the multiplication works in order to do the factoring. Okay. So let's go here then. Now we just do the same thing we did before. Our product, okay, our product equals 6. So what numbers multiply to 6? 1 and 5, 2 and 3, 3 and we're done. So those are the ones we're looking at. So now we want a sum of 5. So what numbers add to 5? Well, 1 and 5 would give you 6, 2 and 3 will give you 5. So that's our winner. So one of these is 2, so plus 2, and one of these is plus 3. Okay. What if you had this, m plus 3n, and you switched it up and had m plus 2n? Guess what? This here is the same. Okay, as long as what's in the bracket is identical, you are fine. Okay, I think we're starting to get it now. So here, what is our product? Our product is 30, so numbers are multiplied to 30, and our sum equals negative 13. Okay, so numbers multiply to 30. 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 4 and nothing. So forget it. 5 and 6, 6 and 5. Oh, repeated. Time to stop. So those are the only factors that multiply to 30. So now we have a sum of negative 13. 1 and 30 would give us 31. 2 and 15 would give us 17. 3 and 10 would be 13. 5 and 6 would be 11. So chicken dinner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. There we go. So it's 3 and 10. So we have x3, x10. But I have a question. What would multiply to 30 but give us negative 13? Well, it will work if they're both negatives. And you're right. So we have to double check at the end to make sure we get the proper sum. Okay? Any questions? All right, one sec. Okay, so this works. Here we have two negatives, and they, of course, multiply to a positive 30, right? The product is a positive 30, and our sum is the negative 13. A little bit weird when you get two negative numbers. Now let's go after 6. 6 is going to be different because this is the first time that we have a negative number. When you have a product that is negative, there's only one way to give you a negative product. If you have a negative product, you have to have one positive times a negative. That's the only way to do it. So that's going to be a little weird when we check our sum. So our product equals negative 12. Our sum equals plus 1. All right, here we go. So 12 would be 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, 4 and we're done. So we go back. So now here's the trick. You know, all right, you know that you know 1 is negative. Okay, so the rule is this is the sign of the larger digit. Okay, so since we had a +1, that means the larger digit must be positive, the smaller digit must be negative. So now our sum is going to be 11. Here our sum will be 4, and here our sum will be 1. So then it must be this combo. Okay, so we will get a minus 3, a plus 4. And if you switch them around, that's okay, as long as you switch and the sign stays with the correct number. Okay, so if you do switch them, what you're looking for is the -3 and the +4 staying the same. Okay, couple more with that. So let's practice. Let's do number 8 first. Product is -20 and your sum equals 8. -8 rather. So what multiplies to -20? 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 3 and, doesn't work, 4 and 5. 5 and, we're doubling up, so we stop. So now one of them has to be negative. And so what we're saying, because this is negative, this must be the larger number. Okay. So let's make the larger number negative. So negative, 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 and we're looking at 19. This would be -8. This would be -1. And so this is the winner. We're going to get y minus 10 times y plus 2. And of course, they could be in a different order. Next one. So now we're going to go back here. x4, that breaks down how? That breaks down into x squared and x squared. Okay, so now our product equals -99 and our sum equals +30. This one's a little bit weird. So what are numbers that multiply 99? 1 and 99, 2 doesn't work, 3 and 33. Ooh, wait a second. This could give us the +30, but how? Only if what? Only if this is negative. So sometimes that's the other way to think about it as well. X squared minus 3, x plus 33. Okay? So sometimes I look at the sum and help me guess and check about which factor should be negative also. Okay, so here's some more complicated ones. Here we have y squared and x. How does this all break down? X and x, that comes from our x squared part. And then we got y and y, that comes from our y squared part. Okay? And so now our product equals -36 and our sum equals -5. So 1 and 36, 2 and 18, that's a tough one. 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and 6 and 6. So now which ones are 5 apart? Here's another way to think about it. Which one's 5 apart? Well, that would be 4 and 9. So this could give you a -5 only if 9 is negative. So we got x plus 4y, x minus 9y. Okay, so one more different scenario. Now, what strikes you odd about having these three numbers, 5, 15, and 20? First of all, there's a number in front. We haven't seen that yet. And they all are multiples of 5. So what we have to do is we have to do our GCF first. So this is work from yesterday. So we're going to divide by 5. And so then we get a squared plus 3a minus 4. And what do we do then? We can now sum and product. Product is negative 4, sum equals 3. So 1 and 4, 2 and 2. Now the only way to get a 3 is if this is positive and that is negative. And so we get 5a minus 1 times a plus 4. So the only difference is we combine today's lesson with yesterday's. Okay, done there. We'll do more later.